We're going to write the equation of the circle represented by each of these equations in standard form. Let's make sure we know what we're talking about. That's this. And we're going to state the center and the radius of each one. Pardon me. So in order to do that, we're going to use some of the same skills we just learned where we fill in the blank. But I want us to go back to the very first problem we did where everything was nice and neat and laid out for us, where we had, oh, x plus 2 times x plus 2, oh my goodness, it's squared. We don't have that luxury now, so we have to force it to be that. So let's keep writing. X squared plus 4x plus y squared. Wait a minute, I'm supposed to have a number here to make this work. And I'll figure out what that number is in a minute. You might already know. Hopefully you do. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the y terms. So y squared minus 2y plus something, don't know what, equals 4. Okay, well, here's the deal. You learned this years ago. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. So I'm going to add a number here, so I better add it on this side as well. And same here. So we're going to have some blanks to fill. These will be the same, these will be the same. Unless you want to get creative and mix them up, but you better balance your equation. So we are going to figure out what number goes here, and we just did this. We're going to take the number with our x, and we'll half it and square it. Take the number with your x is 2, square it is 4. So when you factor it, you'll have x plus 2 times x plus 2. All right, a couple options. X plus half of 4 or x plus the square root of 4. Same thing either way, square it. All right, then we will add what we get when we deal with this one. Okay, we'll take the number with our y in this case, which would be -1. When we half it, it's -1. Then we square it and we get +1. So then we're going to have y minus 1 times y minus 1. Couple options. Y minus either half of that or the square root of that. Now, we just added 4 and we just added 1. So balance your equation. And that gives us 4 plus 4 plus 1. A lot of times we get in such a habit of looking at this and saying, oh, I'm going to factor that, and what number goes here? And then we get over here and we're like, what do I do? Add 4 plus 4 plus 1. Really, don't panic. Everything you need is right here. This is now in standard form. Notice that these two things look very similar. Excuse me again. I can't quit coughing. I better. The center is at -2, +1. And the radius is the square root of 9, which is 3. Feel free to leave that part off if you like. Let's get some water here. And then we'll move on. Same idea on the next problem. We're missing some stuff, and we're going to make sure we know what that stuff is. So x squared minus 10x plus, oh, I don't know what. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Plus y squared plus 2y plus, oh, I don't know what. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Equals that -10. What about him? Nothing about him. Plus blank, okay? So let's figure out what goes here. Take the number with my x, then I half it and square it. I'm the kind of student little homies want to be like with my nose in a book, working hard till I get it right. Been spending most our lives living in quadratic paradise. We'll solve it once or twice, living in quadratic paradise. The answer turns out nice, living in quadratic paradise. I forgot the next line. Gotta pull it up, start all over from the beginning. There we go. I took half of 2 and then squared it, got 1. On this side, we're gonna have -10 plus 25 plus 1, that's 15 plus 1, 16. We now have standard form. So we have a center. That center is at 5, -1, and that radius is at 4. Okay, last one. This one's out of order, and we're going to have to straighten this thing up a little bit because it's, well, out of order. The x's aren't together, the y's aren't together. There's a number that's just floating around. In the structure of all of these, we need our x's together. So x squared, looking for x's. There you are. I need a blank. There it is. Okay, we've moved our x's to cluster them together. We'll take our y's, put them together. We have, whoa, not equals. Whoops, whoops, whoops. That's tragic. All right, y squared, 12y, and something, but I don't know what. And that equals, okay, whoa, whatever happened to your -4? He was in the way. Like, I'm going to fill in some blanks, and I don't need 4. Maybe I could incorporate him somehow, but he's just going to be in the way. Take that -4, move him over. becomes positive 4. And we'll add a couple blanks, and we'll go from there. So, been living most of my life living in quadratic paradise. Half of that's 3, square it's 9. Half of it's negative 3. But whether you square a positive or a negative, you always get a positive. Unless it's imaginary. We don't play that game in this class. All right, add 9 on this side too. Half of 12 is 6. I almost said the wrong thing. Half of 12 is 6. Square it's 36. I almost said half of 12 is 36. That is not true. And that means I have... There we go. And then y plus 6e squared. And that is equal to 4 plus 9 plus 36. That'd be 49. I'd like to think it's fairly obvious what everything is at this point. We have a center. That would be at 3, negative 6. We have a radius. That's the square root of 49. Write that part or not.